go. But of course, on a map like this, you're expecting, the Valkyries to come on out. You're gonna have the Watsons yet again, Cryptos, Seers on board. But the first glimpse I've seen here on the scoreboard right now, Gino, is I see ATH. They're actually running the Mad Maggie, and she can get a lot of value given a situation specific to, certain spots in World's Edge.
Yeah, wild scenes. With the Maggie coming out, we certainly haven't seen that for quite some time. It's going to be RXM there, who's running that over in North Siphon. And then looking around at where these other teams have landed as well. Wow, actually, Golden Sage, I'm just having a look at them because they're landing at Landslide. So one of their members actually landing on the couple of bins in the caravans just below construction. So an interesting little split for them as they start this one off. Dome currently, we don't have anybody down there. It was T4, yeah, going over towards Geyser, and yeah, look, the rest of it is looking pretty standard actually. And then as far as the ring goes, we're going to be heading up towards Climatizer. So GQ, who was starting there, are going to be very happy, and you can see Valiant quickly rotating up past the bridges of death and Epicenter.
And with Valiant rotating, that allows MDY White access perhaps to the beacon there. But if they realize that the Valiant's already moving north side, they should just follow suit anyway. And it seems like from Fragment West, MDY White's already abandoning the city. Same thing for Dreamfire. I look at the squad, they're by countdown, they're the one of the teams that can basically gatekeep into Skyhook, try to be a little bit of a pest towards Lava Fisher and Trials. But instead, Skyhook actually gonna have a third team on board. We already had a while ago, that was the Dugu play, and then you have 20th guaranteed on the west side, even taking Trials. But look at Boogie Borders go. They're willing to contest this, and we might get some early action to just get a good foothold of the north side.
Yeah, well, Boogie Borders there, you can see. Looking for Dugu play, but they do have... they're actually quite spread out, Dugu play. A couple of them just watching from the high ground to try and make sure they've got eyes on top of Boogie Borders, while the other team members move around and try and get in position. They decide it's probably going to be a little bit too much of a risky fight here, so they'll make their way towards the ring and just continue on here. That said, Boogie Borders, they don't have the info. They're not sure where this next ring is going, but you can actually see them pinging a pretty northerly location on the map. Well, apart from the fact that Dreamfire has just landed, that is the location they pinged. Like, this is exactly here where Dreamfire are right now. So they might be in for a rude shock if they eventually do rip the cord on the Skyward Dive and head their way over there. But at least it will be in the right general direction for where this next zone is headed.
Yeah, that's the danger for Boogie Borders. There's no beacon really around Survey Camp. They're not going to get that intel. If they end up landing on Dreamfire, it's immediately our top squad under duress. Perhaps if Dreamfire can get that wipe, that can allow us of the other teams to get back in terms of the score average. But right now, in the middle, T4 already doing valiant battle. Down below, trying to just get into cover as much as possible. T4 taking so many bullets, Valiant just tracking them down, and immediately it's Player K who gets that first draw of blood. That's one down for T4. Kind of becomes T3 instead, and MDY White, same thing versus Northside this time around, taking a few pot shots. Teams from Fragment mobilizing early to get a good position towards Climatizer instead.
Well, they actually hit the respawn beacon that's situated to the north there and bring in retech, but in the time that they've done that, Shusti has gone down. Of course, it was Tap Strafe with you on the Crypto there, using his drone to get the instant respawn, but just in the time that they do that, they're back down to 2 members. So T4 in all sorts of trouble right now. They're in a very, you can see that thermite on top of them. Retech having to use the initial syringes that he drops with just to try and keep himself healthy. And then meanwhile, we've got some other teams also having some trouble here. You can see Northside Esport are just trying to get the fences down in that caravan because GQ are on top of them, and the Arc Star's in the hand of Mew right now, looking for some juicy targets for that.
Yeah, Mew can be really one of those potent fraggers for the squad, but GQ, they can't overexert because the team that actually drew blood against Northside, MDY White, watching them all the way from the eastern side instead. You also have right behind PK just lying in wait as ATH also trying to reconvene, use that crypto drone to scout around at the same thing. Seems like, though, it's already quite a boiling point per se here, Genome. Everyone trying to get into Climatizer. Everyone trying to get towards the northeast, feeling that's the position. But look at the shots go from Dreamfire. Roy putting Trap Strafe down. And yet again, T4 just absolutely hurting. They're the ones first out.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they had really a chance in that game at all. Every single spot they took was just under fire, as you said, under duress from multiple different angles. So unfortunately, T4 are the first to fall. 19 squads left as this first circle closes. It will be interesting to see where the circle shifts next. Because it's very much, it's all over Climatizer and Epicenter right now. But as we've seen today, it kind of feels like this could go anywhere.
Yeah, I won't believe it till I see it by this point. I won't believe someone's in a god spot unless it actually happens. But we can actually move away from all the action right now while we see here for Boogie Borders contesting the trains. They realize the Dreamfire is there. They also still have to deal with Dugu play over onto the cliffside. So Boogie Borders right now, you can actually set up on the inside, but it's usually sieged on by other squads, so they're gonna disengage instead. Look at EXO though on the map here, Genome. They're so far away. They're in countdown, and they're the ones just lagging behind compared to the rest.
Yeah, EXO definitely taking their time to get into the ring. Dugu play. They're not quite inside it just yet either because, you know, they've got Dreamfire and they've been very aggressively defending their space. As we saw, they nabbed a good spot early and they want to make sure they keep a lot of that area to themselves. A very risky Valk ult here by Boogie Borders, and they managed to get on top and they run straight into Valiant.
Yeah, there we have it now. Valiant on the opposite end. I think because Golden Stage are dueling here. Valiant in the meantime fighting out against Wendy and Guaranteed and the middle of Climatizer. The two circles looking Cookavine is GS though on the board. Fussy answers back. Boogie Brothers trying to stay on the line, and it's GS having to disengage instead. Azu, the only one underneath by the lava. A single sliver of HP as Valiant also fighting as valiantly as they can. 28 Guarantee forced to the ground. It's all about that position. Boogie Borders, the invaders. Valiant on the opposite, the defenders. And it seems like they're the ones who come out ahead against their individual skirmishes. But you know there's something here.
There is, look, we're getting the respawn already, and you can see, is that, I think that's the riot drill that they're currently contending with just to try and get that on. All right, we'll think about that in just a second, because to the east here, we've got over towards Overlook. A couple of teams thought the ring maybe perhaps it was going to pull towards that, and Good Riddance being one of them, unfortunately living up to their name as the 19th squad eliminated here.
Yeah, say goodbye, but speaking of saying goodbye, Buram might be the ones to bid farewell as Onyx is immediately on the hunt. As soon as they heard the gunshots, they were just going for it. Golden Stage in the meantime finally gonna get eliminated over at Climatizer, and the escape perhaps will not happen. Buram caught out with her pants down by Onyx, and Onyx is not done. Northside having to disengage, now being watched over by PK and RTL. Here we go. It's just a series of unfortunate events for the teams that get caught out again and again by the other squads already in position.
Yeah, Lemony Snicket, eat your heart out there. The ring moves up. D and Z, one of the later ones, of course. They're still playing Edge like usual. Coming up, they're going to fight Onyx pretty soon, it seems like, unless one of them makes a big change in their rotation, their direction right now. You can see they're just holding the top of one of the towers, at least two of them, but they're going to have to make their move soon. 50 seconds until the ring will shove them out of this position, and they're looking across the ditch here at Onyx.
Yeah, DNC, I think that's the tower that Moist Esports was able to use last time around when we saw them last week. Onyx, though, they know how to fight against that position. They are just waiting for DNC to come at them, and it seems like that's going to be the case as DNC have decided to go into the convoy and still stick around with the drone trying to scout. Onyx, though, they are prepared yet again. Circle now closing in. What is up with Onyx? They're always getting these isolated dulls. It seems like that's their whole game plan here, Genome, right now.
Well, it's better than getting third party, isn't it? The Seer ult's actually going down. Partly outside the ring here, so these guys have got to be careful. They're just trying to navigate in and outside this ring where they can get the better positions, but also where they're not going to be taking too much damage. And it feels like Onyx have certainly got the better side of the fight in that sense. They've got that Newcastle. They're using the mobile shield to hide behind, and DNZ, they're on a little bit of a clock here.
It's just painful, painful stuff. They are hurting. Mexius, though, just willing to wade into those waters. Can he actually get out of there as DNC losing one? Right behind you! It's a bit of a backstab! And DNC! They're feeling the pressure from Maxius and from Onyx. Oh, the only one left standing here. DNC trying to survive. Up close and personal. Onyx has decided to just go at them. And DNC, well, they're just gonna get demoralized in that situation as Onyx was watching them.
That was so fantastic by Mexius. The selfless play. He knew he was going to go down. He had such little health that, like, he could have tried to pop the syringe there, hidden that house, but he actually just full sends it, and with the tiniest little bit of health, manages to get two of the other players down from DNZ and pretty much just outright win that fight for Onyx Esports, who did well and played it from the zone, just giving themselves the advantage there. So, nice win there for Onyx, who will pick up those... a couple of KP, moving them up to 5 now already in this fight. But that said, they're well out of the circle, and they're going to have to make their way in. It's going to be tough. You can see this circle has continued to shift north and north. So it won't finish around that river of lava in the middle there, which means Dreamfire have done an amazing job at picking their spot there. But also a team like ADL Wolves, who are in the north building, they're going to get joined by a lot of people soon. You often see these buildings holding up like, 4, 5 teams, and they'll all pull out at the same time when we get into the zone 5 or 6 situation. But that means everyone else is going to have to start shifting north.
Well, wasn't that the case of the other building on the opposite end? GQ and ATH have been neighbors for so long, as Onyx have decided to transition towards the circle itself, and they might be landing on one of these two teams. Yeah, MDY White versus Onyx this time around. Onyx, though, in for a world for hurt. Perhaps biting a bit more than they can really chew here. Trying to reset behind the shield right now of the Newcastle Balkan. Getting as much HP as he can even, but there you have it. The ultimate gonna get popped on the Esports. Just gonna be in cover. Good for the Newcastle, able to mobilize out, but you can see MDI White, they smell blood, and they are ready to just hunt them down. On the Esports, they're done for this round.
MDY White just rolls straight through them there. You can see north side, they were previously all the way down the bottom as well, so they've gone up. Dugu Play go down too, so now Ant having to think about, just getting back into this, because they've wiped out the entire western side of this game. They've got so much space to play with right now, and they're going to be able to very consciously and safely make their way into that building with the ADL Wolves, most likely, that we were talking about before.
Yeah, France, they've been relatively in a safer spot. The only one having any kind of battles here is you sniping against Ridney and the rest of RTL, but we watch GQ, who has been watching a lot of the action. They've been some of our other spectators, other observers here for some reason. ATH still within the same vicinity, and GQ, poke prod, yet again go for the reset. In times like this though, I feel like with the meta as it is right now for Apac South, it does become a war of attrition, a war for supplies rather than the executes until someone is forced to do so.
Yeah, it can be a little bit. I mean, I'm watching, just having a quick squiz at Dreamfire, who is still up the top there, and they're thinking about making a rotation further down south. Roy certainly waging a war of attrition with his Sentinel, getting some good cracks on the other team. RTL, we've been seeing them down all the way down the bottom for quite some time. They need to think about making their way up now. And then you've got MDY White, who we saw win that fight out to get this caravan. They're not going to be safe for much longer either, but they've got two teams ringing them. There's currently Northside and EXO, who have a big spread, grabbing angles on that caravan. And that's one of the really tough things about holding those caravans is you're often at risk from so many different places. And, you know, with 10 seconds left on this ring, I mean, how are they going to get out of there safely?
Yeah, relatively safe on the inside, not so much on the outside. And MDY Whites, they're going to get pressured heavily. EXO, though, these guys basically have those flyer miles in stores. They went from so far away. I think last time we mentioned them, right, they were all the way at Countdown, but now we are counting on them to get into the action too. And speaking of, EXO now deciding to siege on in. They want to go perhaps against ATH first, but they realize MDY Whites is right behind them. GQ, in the meantime, still watching, realizing ATH has decided to just disengage and get on the way. A few pot shots here and there, just stalking yet to get some of these targets as much as possible. There we go with the track. GQ cracking that armor, forcing, I believe that might be EXO, right, to actually wade into the lava instead. And MDY White, in the meantime, left behind, absolutely bleeding. GQ out, and MDY White also now out of this fight.
Man, GQ left that so long, though. They've taken critical damage from the ring just making that Valk ult. They'll have to find a very safe spot. They actually do on top of the other building, but there's a lot of other teams struggling as well. Primus Commander being one of them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fire hazard here. Maximum occupancy, apparently. All these squads, and PK now doing battle against Raki and the rest of the opposite roster. Well, for PK, though, can still reset a little bit. Get a bit of that shield batteries. They have the setup that they need in the first place. Hey, with a spot. And there you have it now. PK having to survive. Valiant in the meantime. Oh, can they survive? We'll patch in what Valiant's doing right now.
All right, Valiant here. You can see they're still down the bottom. Just teams trying to make use of all the different levels of those middle, the middle parts of Climatizer. The ring won't end there, but they have to take those positions for the moment. The ring's going to continue going north, of course. As we said, there's 5 about teams, pretty much as expected there in that northern building. And we're just going to watch as the ring slowly pushes them out towards the northeastern side here. So Valiant are probably going to be one of the last teams who have to make that move, luckily. But whether they do that from up on top, they try and Valk ult all the way in, or they might even just hop down below and try and find a nice little spot in the lava. And esports obviously have unfortunately struggled to do this. In Kentung there, you can see is going to struggle to make that last ring. GQ
buzzing like flies here, man, and they are just watching for Ants. Eventually, Ant Esports Club will be eliminated. GQ going after Dreamfire, but here we go. We're listening into Valiant. They're having some trouble right now. In the meantime, though, ATH, oh, Valiant, oh, Player K, he's still alive. RTL getting eliminated along the way. High ground, though, still here for Valiant, but Player K trying to play with his life. Can he get out in time? No, Valiant gonna fall apart at the seams, and we got 6 squads here remaining. Still, north side, this is their side of the lava, but they're just getting absolutely obliterated. Exo Clan, though, will fall instead as north side survive in UQ. And on the opposite end, ATH just still watching from afar. Boogie Borders, though, in the meantime, they have taken the northern quadrant of this circle, and they're happy to just watch after and chase after Dreamfire here.
Yeah, Boogie Board is coming in on the back of this. Dreamfire have had Godspot for pretty much the longest time here. They try and force a fight, and it doesn't work out because App take too much out of them, and Boogie Board has come in on the backside here as a duo to get a top 2. Northside are the other team that they've got to contend with currently. They're getting a last-minute respawn with 2 teams left. This is wild stuff here from Boogie Boarders, and this only happened because Northside also had a player down. They had to take a second to try and reset themselves and get the res off. They do this but they don't have that much time now. They want to try and push the issue before it becomes a 3v2, but it looks like they've waited a little bit too long, and from the ashes, it feels like Boogie Boarders are going to win this game.
Oh man, they just snuck it in a serpentine manner. They came from that southern circle and they moved towards the northern side and said Boogie Boarders yet again ready to surf on 1.5 million points by this point. They've been in the lead for so long, and this is just the true standard here from Boogie Boarders right now. Ready to execute and ready to win yet again. Boogie Boarders with another one.
Incredible stuff by our Aussie team here. Yeah, no pricey, no problems is their motto today. It has been